I was told to eat, sleep, and breathe Herbalife. Herbalife first, always. It's 11 p.m. and you haven't talked to your 10 people for today. Get up and go to the gas station down the road and talk to the employees. You can sleep when you're dead. I'd like to say I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. I heard this in dozens of trainings. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is G, and on my YouTube channel, I like to talk about the shady, predatory, and manipulative tactics of MLMs. MLMs are multi-level marketing businesses, but that's just a fancy way to say it's a legal pyramid scheme. Today I want to talk to you about an MLM that we've discussed on my channel before, which is Herbalife. Herbalife is literally one of the worst, and the fact that they still are in business and are continuing to get away with what they're doing is pretty astounding to me. I found a really interesting post on the anti-MLM subreddit where I spend a lot of my time learning about MLMs, and it's formatted in a question and answer type of way, and there are a lot of really interesting things that the person reveals about their time in Herbalife, which was about 10 years. They spent 10 years in Herbalife, and they are spilling the tea and sharing all of those things that a lot of people wonder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just read the post in its entirety, and then at the end I'll go ahead and give some of my observations and some of my reactions to what the original poster had mentioned. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please give a thumbs up, please subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff. And I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments your thoughts about Herbalife. Let's get started. Shedding light on Herbalife. My goal with this post is to give more of an insider's view of Herbalife. I'll give as much detail about it as I can without sacrificing my privacy. The reason for this is that I know high-up distributors sometimes go after people who have left when they're vocal about what happens on the inside. I'll explain this a little more in the Q&A, since that fits inside one of the questions I was asked. I've combined questions that were similar. After the Q&A, I've added some other info. I don't mean this post to be an AMA, just to shed light on what happened while I was part of the cult. To start, I was in Herbalife for about a decade. I attended at least a couple hundred meetings and trainings. Some were free, like Herbalife Opportunity Meetings, HOMs, but some cost a significant amount of money, like Leadership Development Weekends, LDWs, or extravaganzas. I'll explain the costs more below. Questions and answers. What was the appeal for you at the beginning? What got you hooked, so to speak? The appeal to me was the chance to make life better. Life was pretty difficult for me way back then. I had nearly died from some health issues and was severely in debt. Life is so much better now that I've gotten away from the cult. I'm mostly healthy, working with my doctors on the rest, and I've been digging myself out of debt with my steady job and paycheck. Explain your ID choice, double cult survivor. I was raised in a religion that is most definitely a cult. No, I will not disclose which religion. It's not important to the Herbalife story, and I'd like to keep my privacy. Herbalife is also a cult, so I survived 2 cults. Double cult survivor. Were you ever told to lie about anything? Yes. It was never phrased that way, but I was told that everything was supposed to be positive. If someone said something like, "I heard Herbalife product killed all the aliens on Mars," we were supposed to answer,
"I don't know about that. All I know is..."
blank. This is a shitty way to answer real-life hesitations and questions, especially when it comes to health issues. If you alienated anyone, did you apologize later? Did you ruin relationships? Yes to both. I did lose relationships and alienate people. I've done my best to make amends. Some of the ruined relationships were a long time ago, and I have no idea where the people even are anymore or how to contact them. I've had to have a come to Jesus style reckoning with myself. Taking responsibility for causing that kind of pain is not easy, but so important. That's part of why this sub frustrates me sometimes. Getting caught up in an MLM doesn't automatically make someone bad. We aren't all assholes, and not all all of us are trying to scam others, and sometimes when people leave, they realize what they've done. The only real way I know how to try and make it right is to spread the word and share my experience. Oddly enough, the personal development aspect of Herbalife is what helped lead me out. I'm such a different person than I was when I started, and it's absolutely because I worked on myself. It's a process and it took a long time, but I'd like to think I'm a better person now. I'm not perfect, but I try to be self-aware and treat people according to the golden rule. Did you ever truly believe in the product or the spiels? Did you convince yourself you did when you didn't? The spiels always seemed forced to me. They had me so convinced there was something wrong with me, so I used the spiels anyway. I did believe in most of the products. There were some products I definitely had to convince myself on. As an example, when they launched Herbalife 24, the athletic line, I started using a product called Prepare. It's a pre-workout energy mix. This made me sick to my stomach many times, but I continued to use it because I didn't want to disappoint my sponsor. Imagine going to lift hard at the gym, but you're also trying not to throw up the whole time. Doesn't make for a good workout. I also threw up the tea quite a few times. Turns out I'm sensitive to their mix of caffeine. I do fine with a cup of coffee or non-Herbalife tea, but when it's their highly concentrated mix, my stomach just can't do it. What were some of the things you heard and saw from uplines, downlines, fellow reps not in your line, or even corporate? This is a rabbit hole. I knew a lot of people that were former drug addicts. I always wondered if any of them still used. Turns out cocaine is the drug of choice. The research from Christine Richard was incredibly eye-opening for me. She discusses how the founder, Mark Hughes, was caught doing cocaine before he'd go on stage for trainings. There was also a president's team member named Chris Bickerstaff that was arrested, along with his wife, for possession of cocaine and anabolic steroids earlier this year. You can find Christine's research here. I also very specifically remember leadership doing whatever they could to smear people's names that left. There were some very high up people that left, and the rumor mill spread all sorts of probably lies, things about what kind of people they were. Like when Sean Dahl, he was a top distributor and was called the Chairman's Club. When he left, the rumors were that he was a thief and a liar. He supposedly tried to cheat people out of their checks or something like that. I have no idea if any of that is true, but it's easy to see the kind of damage this can do inside of an organization. I also saw people's personal lives used against them when they left. You're divorced? You're a scumbag father who doesn't deserve to have kids. Don't associate with them or you'll get forced out. That type of stuff. There were also groups telling people in their org not to spend their money at places Bill Ackman owns stock in. Make him suffer for trying to hurt the company. I never stopped eating at Chipotle. It's f***ing delicious. Any secret groups? Yes, but this may not be what was meant by the question. Herbalife is big on exclusivity and earning your way in. There were always secret calls for trainings or personal development. You had to be invited to the calls, and if you didn't do the homework and participate, you'd get kicked out of the group. I remember being shunned several times for missing calls. When there are 2 to 3 meetings a week and multiple calls, it's overwhelming. How many people do you think you saw come and go? No idea. Probably hundreds. What were the start and end losses and revenue? This is a number I haven't ever tallied. To be honest, I kind of don't want to know. One day I'll total it up and do a separate post. I will tell you, whatever money I made was completely shadowed by the amount of money I spent on personal product and trainings. I know I spent at least $10,000 to $15,000 on trainings alone over the years, including ticket cost, flights, hotels, gas, etc. I was also spending roughly $3,000 to $4,000 a year on personal product. If I'm conservative with this number, assume I spent $40,000. I can 100% say I never cleared $40,000 in profit. I'm counting the money I spent on product as a loss because it caused quite a few health issues for me. When I finally walked away and cleaned my house out, I threw out about $500 of unused product. What were the costs and fees? The startup fee was somewhere around $60 to $70, I think. I honestly don't remember. For fees, see above. What I didn't include in those numbers was everything I spent on branded items, such as clothes, sports bottles, marketing materials, samples, etc. There were also other things like personal development books and the stuff to make visualization boards. It's very painful to think about how much money I lost. How hard was it? Very. High-ups would always talk about how we have it so easy. Cue stories of walking to school barefoot, uphill both ways, in the snow. It was not easy. The amount of work I did was never enough. I was told to eat, sleep, and breathe Herbalife. Herbalife first, always. It's 11 p.m. and you haven't talked to your 10 people for today? Get up and go to the gas station down the road and talk to the employees. You can sleep when you're dead. I'd like to say I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. I heard this in dozens of trainings. Did you do the Hunbat E-King? To be honest, not really sure what E-King means. Maybe like the Hunbat greeting? I don't know. Not that I'm aware of. I also never use the Hey Hun approach. It always seems so disingenuous, and I'm not that kind of person. Herbalife hierarchy levels. Number 1, distributor. 2, senior consultant. 3, success builder. 4, qualified producer. 5, supervisor. 6, world team. 7, global expansion team. 8, president's team. 9, chairman's club. And 10, founder's circle. Cult-like behavior. Herbalife has a couple official songs. We Are Here by Ace Young and One Vision, One World by DJ Bobo. Not gonna lie, I thought that said DJ Boob. They also use Tina Turner's Simply the Best to start every single meeting. Clapping, singing along, and cheering was this close to required. Different teams had different cheers. Before big trainings, some teams would meet in a big circle. At the end of whatever the group discusses, they do their team cheer. If you didn't participate, you'd get quietly shamed by leadership for not participating. There was a very rigid structure for using the products. Eat within an hour of waking. Eat every 4 to 5 hours. Do not eat closer than 3 hours before bed. Drink a minimum of a gallon of water every day. Drink 2 to 3 shakes a day and supplements 3 times a day. Log everything you eat and send it to your coach once a week, or better yet, use iChange so your coach can see it in real time. iChange has since been discontinued. Everything you did had to be turned into your sponsor once a week. It's called the gauges. It's basically a tally of every person you talk to, flyer you put up, invitation to either the product or the business, etc. Lying about the numbers was not acceptable and would get you in trouble. Every single thing was watched and dissected. Personal development was mandatory. They preferred using stuff from the company. Anything by Mark Hughes, the founder, or Jim Rohn, a business philosopher who worked for corporate, was appropriate. The distributor accounts have a full library of videos and audio from them, but you could also get them on CD to listen to. This was supplemented by stuff from other people: The Secret, Tony Robbins, Tim Ferriss, Randy Gage, Brian Tracy, etc. Some of these actually aren't bad, but everything was spun with the lens of Herbalife. So the advice given in the books wasn't always taken the way it was meant. Standing ovations were extremely common and some groups required it. Stay positive, always. Do not dwell on bad things. They don't really exist and it's all in your head. If you're upset, it's because you created that feeling. Being anything but upbeat and positive is unacceptable. Do what you're told. Drink the tea, and lots of it. The first thing that I want to react to was the question, what got you hooked? And the original poster said that what got them hooked was the idea that they could make their life better. Now, when people join cults or cult-like organizations such as MLMs, they often do so with good intentions. I really don't want to believe that every person out there is a scammer and a criminal and a liar and a cheater. I would rather believe that these people have high hopes and aspirations and want to do good by themselves and in the world, and that's what leads them to getting involved in these sort of things. It's easy to portray people involved in MLMs as caricatures or as people who are just manipulators, scammers, liars, and kind of paint them one-sidedly. However, that doesn't paint the whole picture. Like the original poster said, getting caught up in an MLM doesn't automatically make someone bad. We aren't all assholes, and not all of us are trying to scam others. And sometimes when people leave, they realize what they've done. So it's worth remembering that everybody involved in an MLM at some point is just a regular, normal person with good intentions. It's a very sophisticated form of grooming, in my opinion, in how MLMs are able to lure people in and then start to change their behaviors. The next thing that I want to discuss is how the original poster mentioned that they had some adverse side effects when using the Herbalife products. The poster said, "When they launched Herbalife 24, the athletic line, I started using a product called Prepare. It's a pre-workout energy mix. This made me sick to my stomach many times, but I continued to use it because I didn't want to disappoint my sponsor. Imagine going to lift hard at the gym, but you're trying not to throw up the whole time. Does it make for a good workout? I also threw up the tea quite a few times." Now, when your whole company is based around selling these nutritional products to people in order to better their health, and then it turns out that these products are actually harming them, that is a huge red flag. And this isn't just my opinion. There have been medical professionals, researchers, and scientists who have said that there's possibly a correlation between the use of Herbalife products and health problems such as liver failure. Another thing that the original poster said that I wanted to touch upon was how the founder of Herbalife, Mark Hughes, would do cocaine before he went out to do those trainings. If you're familiar with those MLM conventions, they're high energy, bright lights, fast-paced music. All of these things are meant to create an emotional response for people in order to really get them in the headspace where they'll be able to absorb all of the bullshit that's about to get spewed at them. So to hear that the founder and probably other presenters get high off of coke before they go on there, it's just really interesting and disillusioning. They're not acting like that because they truly believe in the business and they're really that excited about it. They're acting like that because they're high. Now, another thing that I thought was interesting was how the original poster mentioned that there is a huge amount of calls that he or she was expected to be a part of every week. This is a very cult-like behavior wherein the organization will keep you so busy and so consumed with menial tasks that you'll be so tired and you won't have the energy or the critical thinking skills to be able to focus on the big picture and really ask yourself what it is that you've gotten involved with. Tied into that is this expectation that the new member is going to be constantly communicating with other members of the organization. Another aspect of this that is just freaking crazy is the amount of money that the original poster spent in order to run their business. Now, they even said that they had spent $40,000 after all was said and done, yet they never cleared that in profit. And when you factor in the amount of relationships that were hurt because of OP's involvement in this organization, they're coming in at a loss. However, the good thing is that they finally were able to get out, and now they're here sharing all of these tidbits and all of this knowledge with everybody else, which is so greatly appreciated. Like I said, it's astounding that Herbalife is still up and running, signing up new distributors, opening up new nutritional clubs, still part of the everyday zeitgeist. When we know, especially in the anti-MLM community, how horrible they really are and what kind of devastating impacts it can have on families and the future generations of those families. As always, there's so much that I can say, but I just feel like I want to keep these videos somewhat brief, not too long. However, just know that I will be creating some more videos about Herbalife in the future. I have a lot of interesting things that I've learned about them recently and I really want to share with you guys. So definitely be on the lookout for those. If you're still here after all of that time, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, if you did, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, tell me your thoughts on all of this. Were you ever involved in Herbalife? Were you involved in another MLM? Do any of these tactics seem familiar to you? If you have a story and you would like to share it with me, please email me. I'll include it in the description box below, spelling the T with G @gmail.com. And other than that, I hope you have a really great day, and I'm going to go ahead and I will see you in the next time. Bye-bye.